One thing that did really strike me crossing the border was, obviously it was empty going in. The last stretch of the highway in Poland was, I think it was Krakowicz border, completely empty.
Yolan, they are right.
Okay,
right.
okay, okay, sure.
Okay.
And go to white cabin, passport control.
Okay, thank you.
And then as soon as we crossed, hundreds of thousands of refugees, vehicles, women and children fleeing. This was early March 2022, so bloody freezing. Like standing in queues, waiting to get across, and hundreds of buses lined up that went back for miles. That was the moment I realized, Jesus, like, you know, we're in it. But then to arrive in Lviv, where everything seemed normal. You know, there was buskers on the street, as I said. Churches, you know, mass happening, you know, shops, the markets, everything pretty normal. I didn't come all this way just to see normality in Lviv. I came to be a part of the war and document it. And then arrived over the precipice of the hill, and I just see this enormous fumes, explosion, everything, secondary explosions, set up my camera, and I was about, I'd say about 3 or 4 kilometers away from it. Ran down to the next road to try and get closer. And there were some Czech paramedics there that I had actually met in the town a couple of days before. So they saw me and they stopped. Jumped in the back of the vehicle with them and we got pretty close. Huge pools of smoke, and we realized then it was a fuel depot.
So we will pass. Now look on the left.
Whoa.
We're gonna pass and that's it. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Oh, stop. That was the first time I got war on my camera and got that close, and I knew I wanted more after that. It was an 8-hour journey to Kyiv, and at that time the Russians had been fighting in Kyiv for 3 weeks or so, and they had surrounded Kyiv on 3 sides. So the only way into Kyiv was via the southwest. But I turn around and it's a man that grew up 10 kilometers from where I'm from. How long do you want to stay?
I don't know, man. I'm hoping I can get enough to do for the next couple of months here, you know?
And he introduced me to the guys he was traveling with, which were an American ex-Marine and a Swedish sniper. It's very easy to establish trust with a fellow Irishman, but the other two didn't trust me so much, so it took a little bit of time for me to get them on camera or to be comfortable around me enough to get on camera. Looking out the window, I have Graham playing a very famous Irish song, Whiskey in the Jar. Graham being the character he is, it was a bit of comic relief. He slowed down coming into the city, and you know, Whiskey in the Jar stops. Things become more somber. You know, we're all realizing, oh shit, we're here now. I left the lads to, you know, their meetings. I couldn't be a part of their meetings. I was walking around Maidan taking shots of the city because, you know, it was a ghost town. It was a complete ghost town. There was not a sinner to be seen. The only people who were there were soldiers, police, volunteers. And all the volunteers were trying to protect Ukraine's monuments. Building sandbag structures around all of the statues. Next day moved to go find Graham and the lads who were actually staying in Maidan, at a hotel in Maidan. They eventually let me interview them in Maidan Square. Interview speaks for itself. They're all balaclavaed up. They still don't want to show their faces.
I have no military background. I have firearms experience and I've spent a number of years abroad.
I'm from Sweden. I'm a ranger in the Swedish Army and I served there for a couple of years. And I have more experience, yeah.
I'm from America. I was a infantry assaultman in the Marine Corps. I've done 4 years in. Rockets, explosives, machine guns is my forte, and I've been to Iraq. This stops here, and he doesn't go further.
Because if you don't stop here, he's going to be enough with Ukraine. He's going to take another one and another one.
If you let him get away with it, he'll keep doing it. China's watching. They'll be the next to do it. This has to stop here.
There's hundreds of us, if not thousands of us, doing this. It makes a big difference. And you know, you could say, well, why do I have to do it, or why does he have to do it, or whatever. But if it wasn't for, you know, people like us, there'd be no one.
We have not been able to get a weapon. There's no line of people here in Kyiv. That's like.
If you're afraid of death, you're in the wrong part of the world right now. Big time.
But I remember this was 24 hours before the liberation of Kyiv. It was the 31st of March, and we drove down the E40 highway out of Kyiv, heading west. Cameras out the window, filming, just civilian bodies burned, falling out of vehicles.
Yeah, that's a dead body without it.
Oh, yeah. Decapitated. Look, in the car, coming out of the car. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, another one.
Тоже трупы, видишь?
On the right.
Right here.
And it subsequently emerged through, you know, many CNN and BBC investigations. I think there's even footage of these people being murdered. And then they burned their bodies to cover their crimes. Yeah, moving on from there, we passed more destroyed Russian tanks. We found Ukrainian soldiers salvaging weapons from the tanks whilst stepping over burned bodies of Russian soldiers melted into the tanks and trying to salvage any weapons. I remember Lee, the American, narrating basically what he was seeing around and just be like, hey, Finn, do you want a foot?
Look, that's a fucking leg.
Leg. Shit.
This is very real. People are dead right here. This is fucking real shit. Heavy shit, bro. Heavy shit.
We arrived at the bridge of Irpin, and this bridge went viral across the world with all the civilians fleeing back into the city of Kyiv. And that bridge was blown by the Ukrainians to halt the Russian advance. Just the abandoned civilian vehicles, burned civilian vehicles, toppled civilian vehicles, bullet holes in them. It was really like something out of a zombie movie. Post-apocalyptic looking. From there, it just got progressively worse. Yeah, we arrived in a town called Vozel. It's just a couple of kilometers northeast of Bucha. I stop, I see something that really caught my eye. It was a scarecrow in a field with this horror mask on it with loads of bullet holes in it. This is the moment in a horror film that you know that no, stuff's going to get bad from this point on. Can you ask what was her name? What was her name? Bucha. So they all lived in this one apartment block, just 2 floors. And the boy's name? Igor. And the neighbor was there, and the neighbor then showed me the grave.
Открываю двери, кто-то, ну, этот первый побежал.
А вы все вместе были в подвале тогда, да?
А?
Вы все вместе в подвале были?
Да, да, весь учхоз. Вот здесь нету домов. Нету домов, никого, вот подвалов нету. Все приходили сюда.
А сын в подвале. Звоню, сын не берет трубку. Мое состояние, понимаете?
Они когда двери не смогли открыть, они начали кидать гранаты, с автомата кидать, с автомата стрелять.
Уж они на месте, думаю, где мой сын? Что с сыном? Иду вот там, с той стороны, они стоят. Я вот так руки подняла. Прошу, не стреляйте, не стреляйте. Военный ведет меня. Я спрашиваю, что с людьми в подвале? Говорю, у меня там сын.
Вот гильз.
Да, да, он гильз.
Смотри, сколько гильз.
Да, да. Вот тут не русский мир. Да и тоже строчили капец.
У нас вот тут вот, у нас этот самый здесь, вон на этом, трусов понакидали, носков понакидали.
Все, полностью все общежития поломали двери у людей. Вот, смотрите. Смотри, топором повырубывали нахер все. И уехали, там операцию на женщине делали. Поразворотили он все.
Я утром шла, вот здесь они все стояли, вот тут была их бронетехника, тут в общем ужасно было. Они все здесь стояли. Мертвые лежали вот здесь вот. Женщина, у которой отстрелили, вот там могила ее, отстрелили ногу. А мужа ее ранило в плечо, пуля осталась там. Потом, когда была эвакуация, мы его отправили.
Where did they threw the grenade down this stairs and he ran out the back, or which way did it go?
Вот, пошли покажу. Вот в этой стороне они кинули. Вот где-то было здесь.
Which way did the boy run out?
Вот они отсюда, и тут был человек, и они отсюда человека под лопатку подстрелили. А тут же ж люди начали тут ходить, здесь было много людей. Они начали ходить, и он отсюда начал стрелять. Тут была дверь такая полуполоманная, это уже потом пацаны заложили. Вот я курточку сейчас покажу. Вот это все вот кровь. Настоящая кровь. Вот. Я его перематывал, того человека в этой курточке.
The boy ran out that way and got shot that way.
Да, мальчик выбежал туда и...
Да, да, мальчик выбежал в эти двери.
Сразу перед дверями.
Да, сразу они там положили. Покажу. Мы кровь, правда, лопатой стерли. Здесь, ну кровь даже вон видно. Мы убирали, оно все ему в голову попало просто. Упал, говорит, ползи. Я через этого малого ползу, приполз, выполз туда. Он говорит, будете рыпаться, вот так вот будет. Со мной еще один человек. Он между нами тупо взял с автомата, выстрелил.
Похоронили здесь, да?
А около общежития прямо. Да, с той стороны вот там. Вот тут одно, там второй, там третье, а там четвертое, там пятое. Вырыто в окопе, закопали до тех пор, пока...
И те, кто первые выскочили, в том числе вот этот молодой человек, который лежит здесь. Всех они там шмаляли через дерево, через...
Перед тем, как им уходить, да, какой-то парнишка пришел и попросил прощения. Простите за все то, что мы наделали здесь.
Why are you doing this interview? What's the point of it all?
Memory is an interesting thing. It's when an event happens to you as intense as it can be, your retelling of that story is actually your new memory. And my stories are my identity. So to not tell them and them to fade into memory, I'm going to lose a part of myself. And I just don't want their stories to die and my memory to die on the hard drive. So that's why I'm telling you my story.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.